This is another popular romance anime this season, and it is for good reason. This anime's main character, Ichikawa, I think reflects an archetype which all of us have embodied at one point in our teenage lives. One who is recluse, slightly edgy, and most importantly, one who is wanting companionship. I actually almost forgot that the whole premise of this anime centers around our dearest Ichikawa, that he has certain proclivities to shank. It's referenced a few times over the series where we do see him hold the book about shanking and knifing, though it's a premise which is sort of forgotten as the series progresses. His intention to shank the female lead just fizzles out by the third episode, where he becomes more honest about his feelings and admits to himself that he actually likes this girl. So that original premise of the dangers in my heart doesn't necessarily explain why this anime has become so popular. I instead propose that what makes this anime so appealing is because of the relationship dynamic that is being presented here. Which brings us to our female lead, Yamada. She's a model and in every sense of the word, objectively is beautiful. Not only does she have the figure, but she also possesses a level of compassion towards Ichikawa, though she is also key in understanding why this anime is so popular. What the dangers in my heart boils down to is we've got quite a young junior high schooler who isn't very socially adept, who pursues isolation and has a crush on this beautiful girl. Then we have this girl who is a lot taller and possesses honestly quite motherly traits. That height difference certainly accentuates that. She seems to also have the desire to protect and nurse Ichikawa, hence why this anime is so popular. Note that I do have very mixed feelings towards this anime. It's cute enough for me to continue watching it, yet I cannot in good conscience recommend this on the platform that I have. There's just a lot of spicy energy to it, with a lot of fan service sprinkled in, primarily to reflect the context of the main character. He's just a kid in junior high with hormones firing in all directions. Hence, there's a focus on certain aspects of the female anatomy. So why do I still persist with this video? While this isn't a formal endorsement of the dangers in my heart, I want to reflect on the themes present in this anime and how Ichikawa very much is reflective of the greater male population. Though you've probably also read the title of this video, where this anime has caused me to also reflect on the dangers in my heart. I look at Ichikawa, then I look at my own life. While the difference in age is quite big between the two of us, we're actually not that different. I look at the desires which he expresses, then the desires in my heart, the dangers in my heart. There are three main dangers here: the desire for introversion, the desire to impress, and the desire for intimacy. It really was good to see Ichikawa start off wanting to be alone and slowly admit to himself that he has a crush on this girl. He hasn't, of course, verbally confessed to Yamada just yet, but to actually be honest to himself as to what he truly feels was a good first step away from the desire of introversion. There's an interesting line where he says in the last episode where he articulates that the reason why he openly reads socially unacceptable literature, such as a handbook on shanking, was that he was using it as a shield. He didn't want to have to relive being separated from his close friends from elementary school, thus not having friends in the first place was the safest bet. While he did assume the worst of Yamada making such a ridiculous claim for himself to believe, I can't fathom such an individual who led himself to believe that Yamada was only using him for her own purposes. This pessimistic view of human nature, to see the worst in every human interaction, is again an unfortunate result of Ichikawa's desire for introversion. Though, as the series progresses, we see this desire slowly being stripped away. It's part of the charm to this anime. A young kid slowly realizing that while he has a wicked desire to remain alone, he has a God-given desire to be around other human beings. The second desire, which I think is intrinsic to the male psyche, is of course the desire to impress. Throughout the series, we get glimpses of his childhood and an explicit admission from Ichikawa himself, where he states that he does not say what he really wants. He may want something desperately, but out of pride and out of a desire to impress, he puts on a front of a stiff upper lip. He instead tries to show off in a mundane way. We see it quite clearly in the last episode where there's the review of the yearbook. He didn't apply himself to pass the exam out of this strange desire to impress. Look at me! I failed the exam, lol. This also is the same with his initial relationship with Yamada. Though again, over the series, he really does start opening up from his shell, and it's really cute to see. He first openly admits to himself in episode 3 that he does like Yamada, then in episode 11 where he verbally expresses it, and finally culminating in episode 12 where he accepts Yamada's emotional support. Over time, his desire to impress others, that is to impress others by showing how stoic he is, slowly goes away. Which brings us to the reason why I personally enjoy and appreciate this anime. All of these desires are desires that I also possess: the desire for introversion, the desire to impress, and the desire for intimacy. While the former two are ones which I have observed in my own life as I've grown older, they are desires which I think I do hold at some level, but have slowly progressed away from as I hold more Christ-like desires. I very much want to interact more with people and very much am interested in dialogue with others. Not only has my church community helped me into this posture, but also the right-wing anti-Twitter community, which I found myself in. The desire to impress has instead been replaced by a desire to make Christ known to the world. I still am tempted at times to perform for the invisible audience, but I am now drawn to spreading the gospel and making Christ known. The latter of these desires, the desire for intimacy, I think, is one in which I trust God's plan for me. The dangers in my heart does encapsulate the male desire for female companionship, a female who is able to nurture and care for me. I think this is certainly the danger in my own heart, where I do desperately desire intimacy. But as I have grown older, I cast such anxieties away and instead find peace in my relationship with Christ. I do encourage you who are watching this, if you do have these desires. It's very much troubling for the young man to endure these in adolescence. But I encourage you that finding your identity in Christ will very much give you peace and give you a calling to something greater in your life. While this isn't a formal endorsement of the anime, I can definitely say I enjoyed this very cute anime. The fan service at times was a bit obnoxious, but I enjoyed spending that half hour in the morning each week watching this anime, watching this young guy essentially grow up. Though it was also an experience for me to also reflect on the dangers in my heart. Thank you very much for tuning in to the leading Christian voice on AniTube. If you'd like to support my work, simply liking, subscribing, and sharing this video is support enough. If you would also like to check out a more appropriate anime which can be designated as a Christian anime, I did a video on the very wholesome Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible.